Let me tell you something about life. It has a way of hitting you in places you didn't even know you could hurt. Life will come at you with storms you didn't sign up for, battles you didn't expect, and moments so heavy you start wondering if giving up might just be easier. And if you've ever been in that moment where your heart feels tired, your mind feels overwhelmed, and your spirit feels worn out, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been there. More times than I care to count. I remember standing backstage once before my career ever became anything, broke, tired, disappointed, and embarrassed. I had 35 left, no plan, no hope, no direction, and I had been told, maybe comedy isn't for you. And you know what? For a second, quitting felt like the most logical choice. Because when you're pressed up against reality, when bills are screaming louder than your dreams, when the people around you can't see what you see, quitting seems easier than fighting. But that moment when you're standing between who you are and who you want to be, that's the moment life watches you. That's the moment your future pays attention. That's the moment God waits to see what you're made of. And on that day, I didn't walk away, not because I was strong, not because I was brave, not because I had it all figured out, but because something inside me wouldn't let me quit. Something whispered, keep going. Something said, this pain you're feeling is not the end, it's the beginning. And that's where this message begins. Because if quitting has ever felt easier to you, if you've ever stood in that place between staying and surrendering, then this message is for you. This isn't motivational fluff. This is real. This is raw. This is truth. This is the journey of what it truly means to keep going when every part of you wants to stop. The moment you feel like quitting is the moment your breakthrough is the closest there comes a moment in every person's life where the weight feels too heavy, the road feels too long, and the dream suddenly feels too far away to chase. It's that moment where your heart whispers, I can't keep doing this. And the world around you seems to nod in agreement. And the truth is, that moment is real. It's raw. It's painful. It's the moment nobody likes to talk about because it exposes you in a way success never will. But hear me clearly right now. That moment, the one where you feel like quitting, is not a sign of weakness. It is the greatest sign you are closer to your breakthrough than you've ever been in your life. You don't feel that level of pressure at the beginning. You don't feel that kind of heaviness when you're playing small or shrinking yourself or settling for less. You only feel that type of emotional and spiritual weight when you are moving towards something bigger than your past, something larger than your fear, something greater than the life you've known. That feel like giving up moment isn't the end. It's the evidence you're standing at the doorway of the next chapter you've been praying for. The enemy of your progress is not failure. It's fatigue. It's that emotional exhaustion that sneaks up on you right when life is about to reward you. Think about it. Every great story you've ever heard has a scene where the hero almost walks away. Every champion has that moment where they think, maybe this isn't for me. Every person who has ever accomplished anything meaningful stood in the same shoes you're standing in right now. And what separated them from the ones who didn't make it wasn't talent, luck, timing, or skill. It was the decision not to quit when quitting felt like the only option. When you feel like quitting, something powerful is happening inside you. You're shedding an old version of yourself. You're outgrowing your comfort zone. You're stretching your mind, your spirit, your discipline. And stretching hurts. Growth hurts. Elevation hurts. Becoming someone greater than who you were yesterday will break you open in ways you didn't expect. But that breaking is not destruction. It's transformation. The same way a seed must crack open before it becomes a tree, you must break through before you break free. People often think the hardest part of the journey is the climb. But the truth is, the hardest part is the moment you can't see the top yet, but you're too far from the bottom to turn back. That middle point, where progress is invisible and doubt is loud, that is where most dreams die. Not because the dream was impossible, not because the person wasn't worthy, but because they misinterpreted fatigue as failure. They thought feeling tired meant they were doing something wrong, when in reality, Feeling tired meant they were doing something right. You have no idea how close you are. You have no idea what's waiting on the other side of this season. You don't see the blessing being lined up, the opportunities being prepared, the people being positioned, the miracles being arranged. Life doesn't show you what it's working on. Breakthroughs happen in private before they ever show up in public. And right now, while you're crying, doubting, struggling, pushing, something is shifting for you. Something is forming. Something is coming together behind the scenes. Don't you dare quit before you see it. You must understand the spiritual law of breakthroughs. The resistance is always the strongest right before the release. When a door is about to open, the pressure tightens. When the blessing is about to fall, the enemy gets louder. When the miracle is about to land, the obstacles multiply. Not because you're failing, but because you're rising. You don't feel this kind of battle at the bottom. You feel it when you're climbing out. And this is why you must keep going. Not because it's easy, not because it makes sense, not because you're comfortable, but because you've already survived too much to walk away empty-handed now. You've cried too many tears. You've sacrificed too much time. You've carried too many burdens. You've prayed too many prayers. You've invested too much of your heart. You didn't come this far to end in defeat. The version of you who wants to quit is not the version of you who will win. Let that part of you fall away. Let the fear fall away. Let the doubt fall away. Let the tiredness be a sign of how much you've grown, not how close you are to failing. Because right beyond this pain, right beyond this moment, right beyond this exhaustion is the breakthrough you have been fighting for. And if you keep going, just a little longer, just one more step, just one more day, you will see exactly why quitting felt so tempting. It's because victory was right around the corner. God put that dream in you for a reason. And He didn't make a mistake. One of the most powerful truths you will ever learn about life is this: your dream is not random. It is not an accident, not a coincidence, not a fantasy your imagination made up just to tease you. That dream you feel inside, the one that keeps returning no matter how many times life knocks you down, the one you can't shake even when you try to give up on it, the one that pulls at your soul in moments of silence. That dream was placed in you intentionally, strategically, purposefully, and it was placed there by God Himself. See, people will tell you otherwise. Life will try to convince you that you misheard your calling. Circumstances will try to fool you into believing your dream is too big, too unrealistic, too far from who you are right now. But let me ask you something real. If your dream didn't come from God, then why does it feel so deeply connected to who you truly are? Why does it pull at you even in seasons when everything else in your life feels broken? Why does it feel like the one thing that refuses to die, even when everything else seems to fall apart? The answer is simple. Because God planted that seed in your spirit before you were even born. Before people doubted you, before you doubted yourself, before fear whispered its lies, that purpose was already stamped on your life. And God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't place dreams in people who aren't capable of carrying them. He doesn't assign purpose without also providing the strength, the resilience, and the gifts needed to fulfill it, even if you don't see that strength yet. Sometimes the problem isn't that the dream is impossible. The problem is that you're measuring your future calling by your current condition. You're looking at your present struggles and assuming they define your destiny. You're looking at your resources, your failures, your insecurities, and thinking, how could someone like me achieve something like that? But let me tell you something with complete clarity. God didn't give your dream to your circumstances. He gave it to you. And He gave it to you because He knows what He placed inside you. People see your flaws. God sees your foundation. People see your weakness. God sees your willingness. People see your mistakes. God sees your mission. People see who you are. God sees who you will become. And sometimes God lets you go through seasons of struggle not to punish you, but to reveal to you just how strong you actually are. Because if He handed you the blessing too early, you wouldn't believe you deserved it. If He elevated you before you went through the fire, you wouldn't have the character to sustain it. If He opened the door before you learned how to walk by faith, You'd crumble under the pressure of the very thing you prayed for. The dream you carry is heavy. That's why the journey is hard. Not because you're failing, but because you're being prepared. God is shaping your endurance, sharpening your vision, stretching your faith, and strengthening your spirit. He's not delaying your blessing. He's developing you for it. Do you hear me? Development always comes before destiny. You might feel tired. You might feel discouraged. You might feel like you're running in circles. But beneath everything you think is going wrong, something divine is working in your favor. The silence you're experiencing is not a sign that God forgot about you. It's often a sign that He's working on something bigger than you can see. A seed doesn't make noise while it's growing. A dream doesn't shout while it's taking shape. Some blessings arrive quietly, disguised as struggle, disguised as patience, disguised as waiting seasons. But when the time is right, and it will be, that dream will unfold in ways you never imagined. Because God is not limited by your surroundings, your past, your mistakes, or your current reality. He's not saying, maybe. He's saying, trust me. He's not asking you to figure everything out. He's asking you to keep believing, keep walking, keep holding on to the vision He placed in you long before doubt ever existed. Your dream came from a divine source. And if it came from God, then it's protected by God. If it came from God, then it's supported by God. If it came from God, then it is destined to happen. So when you feel like giving up, when fear tells you you're unworthy, when people tell you you're unrealistic, when your circumstances shout, it will never happen. I want you to remember this truth: God doesn't put dreams in people He doesn't intend to elevate. And if He trusted you with the dream, then it means He also trusted you with the journey. The ups, the downs, the delays, the disappointments, they're all part of the process He already knows you can survive. You are not chasing a dream. You are fulfilling an assignment. And God didn't make a mistake when He chose you for it. Your pain is part of your story, but it is not your home. There are moments in life where pain feels like the only language you understand. Moments where your chest feels heavy, your heart feels bruised, and your spirit feels worn thin. Pain has a way of making everything look darker, quieter, and smaller. It can convince you that joy is distant, that hope is unreachable, and that healing is something meant for everybody except you. But hear me clearly right now: your pain is a chapter in your story, not the title, not the ending, and certainly not the place you are meant to stay. Pain shows up to shape you, not define you. But the problem is, when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel shaping. It feels suffocating. You don't notice the growth. You don't recognize the strength. You don't realize the transformation happening beneath the surface. You just feel the hurt. And because pain speaks so loudly in its peak moments, it makes you believe it's permanent, when in reality it is temporary, transitional, and deeply purposeful. Think about every powerful story you've ever heard. Nobody became strong without pressure. Nobody found clarity without confusion. Nobody discovered purpose without facing something that tried to break them first. Pain is the pathway, not the prison, to a version of you that you haven't met yet, a version of you that is wiser, tougher, calmer, sharper, and more grounded. But that version of you can only be born through seasons that shake you. And I know it doesn't feel fair. I know it doesn't feel deserved. I know it doesn't feel like something you asked for, but pain is honest. It doesn't hide behind titles, accomplishments, dreams, or appearances. Pain reveals what's real. Pain strips away the ego, exposes your fears, and pulls out the pieces of you that need healing. It forces you to look at yourself without the filters and without the masks. That's why pain hurts. Not because it's meant to destroy you, because it's meant to show you what's still broken inside you so you can rise with intention and clarity. Your pain is not a sign that you're losing. It's a sign that you're transforming. You're being stretched. You're being molded. You're being refined. Just like fire refines gold and pressure creates diamonds, struggle builds strength that nothing else can. You can't truly appreciate peace until you've walked through unrest. You can't recognize joy until you've faced sorrow. You can't embrace growth until you've confronted the parts of yourself that were too afraid to change. Too many people build homes in their pain instead of passing through it. They unpack their bags in heartbreak. They pitch tents in disappointment. They settle in setbacks as if those moments define who they are forever. But your pain is not a destination. It is a doorway to deeper understanding, deeper purpose, deeper strength. Pain invites you to walk through, not to set up camp and call it your life. And the beautiful thing is, pain doesn't leave you empty. It leaves you with insight, compassion, resilience, and perspective. The version of you who emerges from pain is not the same person who walked into it. You come out more humble, more grateful, and more aware of what truly matters. And the parts of you that were weak become fortified. The parts of you that were doubtful become confident. The parts of you that were fearful become courageous. Your pain is not the end of your story. It is the turning point. It is the moment the plot thickens, the moment the character changes, the moment the narrative deepens. Every great story has a moment where the hero falls, where the darkness tries to take over, where everything looks like it's going the wrong way. But that moment is never the end. It's the point where the rise begins. And that is exactly what your pain is, the rise before the rise. So don't let pain convince you that you're trapped. Don't let it tell you you're broken beyond repair. Don't let it whisper lies that you are unworthy, unlovable, or unlucky. Pain wants you to believe it is final, but it is not. It is temporary. It is purposeful. It is shaping you for something your comfort never could. And when you come out of this, because you will look back and realize the pain didn't break you. It built you. It didn't stop your story. It sharpened it. It didn't define your life. It prepared your life. You will stand in your strength, your clarity, your maturity, and say, if I survive that, I can survive anything. But your pain is part of your story, but it is not your home. Keep walking. Keep healing. Keep growing. The chapter you're in now is not the chapter you'll end with. The best pages of your story haven't even been written yet. Pressure builds diamonds, not quitters. There comes a point in every journey where the weight gets heavy, the expectations get higher, and the pressure becomes almost unbearable. And it's in that exact moment. The moment you feel squeezed, stretched, overwhelmed. That life is shaping you into something stronger than you've ever been. Most people misunderstand pressure. They see it as punishment, as a sign they're doing something wrong, as proof that maybe they're not cut out for the dream they're chasing. But the truth is the complete opposite. Pressure is not a sign of weakness. It is the evidence that something valuable is being formed inside you. Diamonds don't come from calm, quiet, comfortable places. They are created deep in the earth, under conditions so intense it would destroy anything that wasn't meant to survive it. But a diamond does. A diamond transforms. A diamond endures heat, darkness, and unimaginable force. And because of that pressure, it comes out radiant, unbreakable, and priceless. You are no different. The pressure you're facing right now is not designed to crush you. It's designed to craft you. It's shaping your resilience, sharpening your character, and molding your spirit into something far stronger than you ever realized you could be. The problem is, when pressure hits, it doesn't come with a label. It doesn't show up with a message saying, don't worry, this is making you better. It feels harsh. It feels sudden. It feels like life is closing in instead of opening up. But pressure only shows up in people who have the potential to handle something great. Nobody pressures a seed unless they expect a harvest. Nobody drills into stone unless they expect something precious beneath the surface. Nobody molds raw material unless they see the final product in their mind. And God does the same with you. He applies pressure because He knows what's inside you. Pressure appears right before moments of elevation. When life is about to change, pressure increases. When you're about to step into a new level, pressure tightens. Just like an airplane experiences the most turbulence when rising to a new altitude, you will feel the most resistance right before you reach something meaningful. It doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're ascending. But here's what separates diamonds from dust: resilience. When the pressure comes, dust crumbles, diamonds endure. The reason pressure feels so personal to you is because you were never meant to crumble. You might bend, shake, cry, or struggle, but you won't break. You weren't built to break. If you were, you wouldn't still be here. You wouldn't still be fighting. You wouldn't still be holding onto your dream despite the weight on your shoulders. The fact that you're still standing, still believing, still trying, that's proof of the diamond inside you. Pressure also serves another purpose. It exposes what's not meant to stay in your life. When life tightens, fake relationships fall away, excuses dissolve, old habits break, and you're forced to confront the parts of yourself that can't come with you into your next chapter. Pressure purifies you. It strips away everything that cannot survive the level you are rising into. It forces you to let go of what's convenient so you can become what's extraordinary. And let's be honest, comfort never produced greatness. Nobody becomes stronger sitting in ease. Nobody becomes wiser by staying the same. Nobody unlocks their potential in a place where nothing challenges them. Pressure is the tool life uses to pull out your greatness. It demands of you what comfort never will. It forces you to rise above your excuses, to expand beyond your limitations, to step into strength you didn't know you had. Every champion you admire, every success story you've heard, every person who has ever achieved greatness, they all faced pressure. They all had moments where they felt overwhelmed. They all had seasons where walking away felt like the simpler choice. But the difference between them and the people who never reached their potential is simple. They didn't quit under pressure. They let the pressure refine them. They allowed the struggle to shape them. They understood that pressure wasn't the end. It was the beginning of their transformation. Pressure is uncomfortable, but it is not harmful. It only feels painful because it's pushing you past the limits you thought you had. It's expanding your capacity. It's enlarging your mindset. It's teaching you discipline, patience, endurance, and unwavering belief. Pressure is not the enemy. It's the sculptor. It is chiseling you into the person your destiny requires you to be. And when you finally rise from this season, because you will, you'll see why the pressure was necessary. You'll realize you didn't break, you became unbreakable. You didn't lose yourself, you discovered yourself. You didn't fall apart, you fell into alignment. The pressure didn't crush the real you. It crushed the version of you that wasn't strong enough for where you're going next. You are being shaped, refined, and strengthened for something far bigger than the moment you're in. The pressure you feel today is building the diamond you will become tomorrow. Keep enduring. Keep believing. Keep pushing through. You're not being destroyed. You're being developed for greatness.